A sobering moment as sirens blare out across Israel, the entire country coming to a brief standstill in honor of Holocaust Remembrance Day. This year's commemoration is the first since the October 7th attacks that killed 1,200 people, saw another 250 kidnapped. The Associated Press reports there are about 245,000 Jewish Holocaust survivors living in more than 90 countries. Joining me now is one of them, the youngest survivor of Auschwitz, Michael Bornstein, and his daughter, Debbie Bornstein-Hollenstadt. They co-authored the book Survivors Club, the true story of a very young prisoner of Auschwitz. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I've been so excited to talk to the both of you.
Thanks for inviting us.
Michael, I'm going to start with you. You survived Auschwitz for 7 months. You were just a child. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you survived after the war?
Yes, I was born in a town called Żarki, Poland. It's not far from Krakow. It was basically an open ghetto. And then after a labor camp, Pionki, we were moved to Auschwitz. That is my mother, my father, my older brother, and my grandmother. We stayed there. Basically, I had dystrophy. My grandmother moved me to what was an infirmary, and the Nazis had a death march, and we weren't on the death march. Basically, that's one way that I survived.
The Nazis, my dad was in hiding for 6 months, hiding under straw that they would keep in, use as mattresses. But his grandmother smuggled him into the infirmary because he was so ill. And exactly then they had a death march. Nazis didn't clear out the infirmary. So my father, by miracle, survived the death.
I think miracle is the right term for this. Debbie, you helped your dad write his Holocaust story, and I'm so glad you did. Why is it so important to continue to tell this story?
Well, I mean, if you look at what's been happening today and people calling for Holocaust 2.0. That sign was up at, it was written in chalk at University of Pennsylvania, where my dad's granddaughter, my niece, goes to school. There are calls for another Holocaust. It's so important, and I'm so proud of my dad for speaking. I'm so proud of him for being willing to tell his story and let me help him research his background so that this can't happen again.
And there are I have a grandson who's graduating from Columbia University, and you might have heard what's going on there. There are a lot of marches and vandalism, and we're hoping my grandson is able to go to graduation, but we're not sure about that right now.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Michael, I do want to talk to you about the October 7th attack, the deadliest attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. You've said that this month you felt it was especially important to share your story. What was your reaction to that day on October 7th?
Well, there were women and children murdered, marched through Hamas streets. And my reaction is it could be starting all over again. Basically, we need to stand up and get rid of all this Palestinian marches. And I'm all for a Palestinian state, but it has to be in peace, not in war.
I think a lot of people agree with you there. Debbie, the Anti-Defamation League has reported a spike in anti-Semitism incidents just last year. Does this year's Holocaust Remembrance Day have more of a meaning to you because of what's going on around the world?
It has a completely different tone. First of all, we're coming to you from an undisclosed location right now, without the town where we're in identified. We're traveling to speak for Yom HaShoah. There was so much security at the event where we were last night and this morning again, because we're Jewish and because we care about an Israeli state and because we are so upset about what's happened to the hostages. And, for that reason, there has to be security around a Holocaust survivor speaking. Everything has changed this year. Everything has changed. It's taken on a completely new meaning.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.